Hi, I'm Dr. Megan Jones-Degler, and I am an education research analyst for DoDEA, which is the Department of Defense Education Activity. I wanted to talk to you all today about some unexpected jobs in the education field. Um, I confess I did not know what I wanted to do when I graduated from Malden High School. I went to Furman, majored in Spanish, and learned a lot while I was in school. I did get to go on a study abroad opportunity. So, my first piece of advice too is if you have any chance to do a study abroad in any country, take it. It's worth it. Um, so I majored in Spanish, graduated, still didn't really know what I wanted to do. I worked odd jobs for a year after I graduated from Furman, and then decided I wanted to go and get my master's degree in Spanish. So moved to Columbia, went to USC. Um, and it was at USC while I was taking those courses and getting to teach college students that I realized how much I enjoyed teaching. Um, so once I finished that program, I came back to Greenville and became a Spanish teacher. I did have to get my teacher certification, so I did that through the State Department of South Carolina State Board of Education program. Um, became a Spanish teacher. I was first at Malden High and then went to League Academy. I really enjoyed teaching. There's lots of highs and lows that come with teaching, and it was something that I enjoyed. I got to really teach some neat kids and work with some great teachers. But at some point, I realized that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to work more with teachers, maybe with mentoring or supporting new teachers in some way. I wasn't really sure how to do this, and in retrospect, I wish that I had talked to some mentors about it, whether that was my principal or some other trusted veteran teachers who could have maybe given me some direction and some guidance. That may have changed my path. But what I did do was enroll in a doctoral program at the University of North Carolina in teacher education and curriculum. My goal at that point was to become a professor and teach teachers or preparing teachers at the college level. But quickly I realized that wasn't really the path for me. While I enjoyed my work at UNC, I knew that I didn't want to stay in a university. I realized I really wanted to work for a school district. Um, so I graduated, spent a couple of years back in the classroom. I taught this time in Virginia, still teaching Spanish. And while I applied to some different kinds of jobs, and then I ended up where I am now, which is for DoDEA. And DoDEA is a school district. We actually have several school districts that serve schools that are located on military bases. So it's children of military connected families. We have schools all over the world. I happen to work for the US and I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina. But we do have schools in Europe and in Asia as well. So now I get to do what I really wanted to do. I get to work with teachers, I get to work with principals, I get to work with superintendents, curriculum coaches, um, everybody, as we're all working toward making teaching and learning and education better for everybody. So instead of Spanish, now I spend my days very differently. I work with a lot of spreadsheets and databases. Um, I've learned a lot as I go. I did get to take some research courses while I was in my graduate program, but I'm really learning more about Excel, more about some statistical software packages as I go. I spend my time helping my team understand, analyze, and make decisions based on data, and it's data that's everything from student test scores to teacher observations to program evaluations of some of the things that we do. Um, Some of the skills that I use in my job on a daily basis would be data analysis. Um, I do a lot with some data science. I do a lot of research, and research can be just as simple as finding out what somebody's question is and then trying to find an answer for it. What kind of data do I have that supports an answer for that question? I use technology a lot. A lot of my because our school district is actually for all of the or half of the schools in the U.S., then a lot of my meetings are virtual, and so I use a lot of technology to connect with people like you all are doing right now with your schools. Um, so using those meetings, using different pieces of technology to generate graphs and charts and visuals um, is important, and just keeping up with the technology as well as things change and being willing to learn something new is always important. Um, And another important piece of my work right now is just project management. Knowing if I've been given an assignment, what do I need to do to finish it? And some of that is time management and knowing, okay, here's the amount of my day that's in meetings. Here's some things that I need to make sure that I get done, and to set myself some deadlines and to really just be proactive about maintaining those incremental deadlines as we go. So project management and time management are really important. Um, for me. One of the hardest parts of my job is that I am the only education research analyst in my district. I do have some counterparts that work for other districts. There's about 10 of us, 10 or 15 of us. Um, but a lot of times, because we have different bosses and different situations, we're not always working on the same thing. So sometimes I have people to bounce ideas off of, but sometimes I'm working by myself. But at the same time, I have a fantastic team of people that supports. Um, while I do that. One of the best parts of my job is that I get to be creative. It sounds like I'm working with numbers and spreadsheets and doing that kind of thing all day, but really my goal is to think about how to present data in a way that makes sense for people who aren't familiar with it. Um, I want to make sure that it's accurate, that I'm giving an accurate message and making things understandable. But at the same time, there's a lot of creativity involved in what I do, and a lot of times I get to think about how do I want to present this? How do I want to do it? How would I have wanted it if I were a principal or if I were a teacher? And that's um, an interesting way to approach the work that I do. I also get to work with an absolutely phenomenal team, experts in all the content fields for education, expert teachers, expert principals, expert superintendents, people who are really passionate about schools, who are passionate about students, and really want to make education better um, for everybody. My career has definitely been very different from what I expected when I graduated nearly 20 years ago. If you have an interest in teaching, any or in education at all, I encourage you to go for it. But also know that there's lots of jobs in education that you just might not know about yet. Um, Classroom teaching experience is incredibly valuable, but there's lots of opportunities outside of the classroom as well. Um, there are opportunities to teach internationally if you want to live abroad for a while. Teaching English internationally is a great opportunity. There's opportunities for research and education, either through a university or through an organization like mine, a school district. Everybody needs researchers. Um, there's also opportunities to work on professional development, write content for your favorite subject in school. Um, Develop platforms for online learning. I think that's going to continue to be a really important element of education. The jobs related to education are endless and they are essential. Um, some of my long-term goals, I am in my dream job right now. So for me, for now, I could see myself retiring from this position or perhaps somewhere within my current organization. There are some opportunities at our headquarters or in different parts of the world. Um, Long-term goals for me would just be to continue learning about my craft and continue adding um, new software or new technology or new research ideas into what I do and just keep refining um, what I do. The job outlook in education is always good. There's always a need for teachers, and not just teachers who go in and work with students every day. That's incredibly important, but also teachers who think outside the box, and who think beyond what their classroom is, so that um, there's that continuing passion to make education in general better. So my best wishes to you as you graduate and decide on your paths forward. And my one piece of advice would be just to be willing to take some calculated risks in your career. Um, Expect your career to look very different in 20 years from where you started. I'm still in the field of education where I started, but it definitely looks different than what I expected, and I could not be happier about that. So, best wishes.